So I'm Benjamin Massoubre. I'm an editor and director of animation feature film. I directed a movie called The Little Nicholas, as Happy as Can Be, who won the Crystal at the Annecy Film Festival 2 years ago. And it's a great question because there's no techniques you can really brought from one movie to another all the time. So, for example, I lost my movies on adult film. So, in terms of rhythm, we really worked on the discussion between the characters. So it felt real. Obviously it felt like you were in the room with them. And on the other space of the movie with the end went across the city. We really worked on it like it was like some kind of blockbuster or maybe like an action movie. So basically Last Movie is a mix of two rhythms. Rhythm which is more like an arty movie, like a social drama, and on the other end with the hand it's more like you work the rhythm like it was an action movie. So it's the mix of the two that makes a great movie. And for Around 180 Days, it's more like family movie. So basically the base you might find in a Pixar movie or a Disney movie, a big movie like that. And for The Little Nicholas, it was really different when I talk about it during my lecture, because there's not really a story in The Little Nicholas. It's basically sketches, because The Little Nicholas, the children's book, is an adaptation of the children's book, as I said. It's like short stories, so it's basically the movie is basically a collection of short stories with inside of them narratives about the creators. So it's really different way of doing editing for these three different movies. It's telling the story, and like I said in the last question, every movie is different, every movie needs its own rhythm. So it's about discussing the movie with the director, trying to find what they really want to, what type of emotion they want to convey with the movie. And a big part of my work is like building empathy for the characters, so we can really be in their places and feel the emotions through their eyes. So it's I think the biggest part of my work as an editor is creating feelings, basically telling the story in a way that creates feelings. The biggest difference between an animated movie and a live action movie is that when you are creating a live action movie, everything has been shot in advance, so you have to do the best you can with what's being shot. So basically, still telling the story. And in animation, it's very different because most of the editing is done at the storyboard stage. And at the storyboard stage, it's really easy to change stuff. For example, when I'm working on a movie, basically it's me, the director, and the crew of storyboard, and it's really easy for me to go and see the storyboarders and ask them for a few more shots in the sequence. Or maybe sometimes we do a lot of rewrites at the animatic stage. For example, we can suddenly feel that two people were having a discussion in the kitchen. It's better if they do it in the car. So, the storyboarders can really quickly storyboard the sequence once again. So, the movie is really edited before we go into production because it's really costly to make animation. And sometimes I say the big difference is that in animation we cut the movie before we shoot it in some kind of way. And in live action, there's the contract of what's being shot, so it's really different. But it's really different the way you do it, but in the end, you just tell the story and you do what I said before, you tell the stories in order to create feelings in the audience. So it's kind of the same work, but it's two different ways to go at it. There's many of them. I'm going to discuss that tomorrow too, but I think it has to do when I was in my teens. And in my teens, the landscape of like what was considered mainstream animation kind of changed. And I think one of the biggest movie at the time was that really influenced me was Nightmare Before Christmas by Tim Burton, because it was really new at the time. At the time we really had like with all Disney movies that were made like either in the 40s or at the beginning of the 90s, like The Lion King. Disney was everywhere in the movies, and suddenly, even though it's also a Disney movie, the Tim Burton movie really changed the landscape. And also, at the same time, the Miyazaki's movies were coming to France and finding this distribution in France. So it was Princess Mononoke had a big impact on me too. It was really I was in the jury actually 2 years ago. and it was a super cool experience, being able to see all those movies from all around the world and be able to have my say on who won and who had the best prize. It was really a spectacular moment for me, especially since I won the year before. I can really see how important the prize is and appreciate how much it's important for a director. What makes a movie going to Annecy? I don't know, because I think there's a lot of different stuff that can be put in motion to go to Annecy. I think of course it's always cinema, so it's the story being told is always important. I know Marcel Jean, the guy who is in charge of selecting the movies, is really into the story first. But of course, still animation, so there's a big part for art, for the graphics that you put in place to tell the story. So yeah, there's no magic solution to get into Annecy, but it's lots of different stuff actually. It's to work actually. no, it sounds stupid, but basically, if you have a group of friends, just do stuff with your friends and never stop creating stuff. And I advise also to find work in an animation studio, because it's always good to be to see older people work and to be inspired by them and be maybe mentored or tutored by the older people. And in an animation studio that can happen. And always work on your personal stuff on the side. And I advise to see as much movie as possible also. Not only animated movies, but movies in general, because animation we do a few animation films a year around the world, a lot less when we do live action. And I think live action can inspire animation a lot, so I think it's good to stay open to movies, and also go to the theater, go to art museum, listen to a lot of music. I think animation is what I love about animation is that it's basically made of every possible art form. So the more you ingest, the more your culture grows, the better you'll be as an artist or a director, I think.